The king of the north!
Dracarys.
I will hurt you for this.
I am the sword in the darkness.
Lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of the sheep.
Let me give you some advice, bastard.
Chaos isn't a pit. Chaos is a ladder.
Panicked by the defeat, Rhaenyra shipped her 2 youngest sons across the narrow sea for their protection, only for her youngest to return days later, clinging to the neck of his wounded and dying dragon. He and his brother had been set upon by an enemy fleet just off Dragonstone. Defying his mother's command, Rhaenyra's eldest son and heir, Jaehaerys, mounted his dragon Vermax and flew to rescue his other brother and punish the enemy fleet.
What is up, everybody? Jeremy Icenfire here, and welcome to the channel. And today, there has been some more recent news coming out of the House of the Dragon Season 2 set, pointing to a potential big change from book to show in Season 2, regarding Aegon the Younger and the potential setup for the Battle of the Gullet. The Battle of the Gullet is one of the biggest battles to take place during the Dance of the Dragons, and goes down in history as one of the bloodiest naval battles in the history of Westeros. And we are now learning of some certain changes to some of the details that lead up to the Battle of the Gullet, in particular regarding Aegon the Younger. It has recently been reported through Redanian Intelligence that Aegon III will be going to the Vale with Baela Targaryen in Episode 7 of Season 2, which is a bit of a departure from the books. In Season 2 of House of the Dragon, we will see Jaehaerys Velaryon fly to the Vale in hopes of securing House Arryn to the black side in the war, which he does successfully do, under one condition, that Lady Arryn be sent some dragon riders in order to protect the Vale in case the Greens were to retaliate. And in Fire and Blood, Jaehaerys sends his youngest brother Joffrey and his young dragon Taraxes to the Vale, along with Baela Targaryen and the 3 dragon eggs in her possession. And now we are learning that Aegon III will be going to the Vale along with Baela in Episode 7 of Season 2, which is a bit of a change from the books. It is not stated whether or not Joffrey will be traveling with Baela and Aegon to the Vale like he does in the books, or whether or not he will be sent to some other location. That is unknown at this point. Normally, right around this time in the Dance of the Dragons would be when Jace sends Aegon III and Viserys II both to Pentos in order to keep them safe until Rhaenyra can secure the throne, which in turn directly sets up the Battle of the Gullet, as Aegon the Younger and young Viserys II are both intercepted by the Triarchy on their way to Pentos, who was recently just hired by Otto in order to smash the Velaryon blockade, but end up stumbling on a much bigger prize in the 2 princelings. And while young Viserys is unable to avoid capture, young Aegon, on the other hand, manages to escape on the back of his dragon Stormcloud, although they take many arrows on their departure. But luckily, the dragon lives just long enough to deliver Aegon the Younger to Dragonstone, which of course directly sets up the Battle of the Gullet, with Jace rounding up the newly acquired dragon seeds and going after the Triarchy in hopes of securing Viserys II's release, which leads to one of the bloodiest naval battles in the history of Westeros, one where heavy losses are felt on both sides. But now, of course, with Aegon being sent to the Vale with Baela instead, it certainly changes things. Now, I suppose they could still set up the Battle of the Gullet with only Viserys II being captured by the Triarchy, but that in turn does change the character of Aegon III entirely, as Aegon never quite gets over the guilt that he felt for abandoning his brother Viserys II to the Triarchy when he escapes on his dragon. So overall, it just seems like a bit of an unnecessary change from book to show, unless they have something very specific in mind for Aegon III's character up there in the Vale. I just can't see the benefit to changing something like this. As small as it may seem on the surface, something like this could severely change Aegon III's character down the line, in particular to his guilt. Another reason for the change could potentially be the age factor. Now, in Fire and Blood, Aegon III and Viserys II are a little bit older. At this point in time, Aegon III already has his dragon Stormcloud. But on the show, House of the Dragon, they have severely aged down these 2 characters. They are only still babies on the show. So I suppose that could potentially be one reason for this change. But if that is the case, then I suppose they are going to have to change how the Battle of the Gullet starts entirely, as Jace's main motivation for rushing headfirst into danger with the rest of the dragon seeds is the hopes that he can rescue his 2 younger brothers that have recently been captured. Then there's also the question of young Joffrey Velaryon as well, Will he be sent with Bela and Aegon to the Vale like he is in the books, or do they have something else planned for Joffrey as well? Either way, it should be pretty interesting to see how these changes play out on screen, and definitely leave your thoughts and comments down below. How exactly do you think the change to Aegon III's story will affect the show and his character going forward? But that is going to do it for us today in the latest news coming out of the House of the Dragon Season 2 set. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit a like on your way out and subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications as well to stay up to date on all of our upcoming content, as we will be covering all things House of the Dragon. And as always, I want to give a big thank you to everybody out there for watching, and we will see you on the next one.